Steve and Maro, just your first reaction then when you saw the draw and saw that it was obviously that you're meeting Wales. Just but from both of you, what was your first reactions?
Maz, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Just incredibly excited. It's nice to know who we are playing. At this stage, it's no longer a guessing game. It's crystal clear who we've got, and it's just exciting. World Cups are always so exciting. It's a time, it's a period that I can definitely speak on behalf of the players. We definitely look forward to, and we definitely relish the opportunity. So the overwhelming feeling is excitement.
I'll echo Maro's sentiment there. I think that the draw today feels like the road to the World Cup's really started now. It's really going to start, feel like it's going to accelerate from here. And I know that from chatting to a number of people this morning is that feeling of excitement and lots of talk, buzz around it, which is wonderful.
And just one more from me. In 2015, obviously England met Wales, and everyone kind of remembers that game as an incredible World Cup occasion. Maro, you obviously hadn't come through with England yet. Steve, I think you were with Japan. Just both of your memories of that game and watching that game.
Well, I was coaching Japan through that World Cup, so as assistant coach there, so focusing very much upon what we need to do. I watched the game, and as ever, it was as with every England Wales game. It's full of passion and full of spirit, and I'm sure the World Cup game between England and Wales in Australia will be exactly the same, full of passion, full of spirit.
I guess yeah, obviously I watched the game. I was supporting England, obviously, as an England fan at the time. And Wales obviously won the game, and it wasn't obviously the best day from an England point of view, but um, hopefully this time around it'll be a little bit different.
Thanks, Michael. Mitch?
Thanks, Tim. Hi, Steve. A lot of the talk today around the world has been focusing on a possible South Africa-New Zealand quarter-final. Can you just give us your thoughts on possible seedings for the draw? Football World Cup's introduced a seeding system for next year where the top four can't meet until the semi-finals. And a lot of people are wondering how it can be that number 1 and 2 in the world look likely to meet in the quarters. Do you think the seeding is a good idea, or do you like the kind of the fun of a mixed open draw?
Well, thanks for the question. I think that, as you respect, is the principles of which the Rugby World Cup draw was going to take place was set out some time ago, and everyone understood what the implications of that were going to be and what the world ranking implications would then mean for the Rugby World Cup draw. And then you go into this mix that we have today, and I sense from my point of view and the people I've spoken to today is one of an overriding sentiment of excitement about some in potentially incredible games. And yet lots of people as try and plan out the permutations. Who knows exactly what's gonna happen come the time of that tournament. But right now I think it's about the excitement of looking at the big games. There's some big games in the groups that are going to take place.
You famously, Steve, like to look one game at a time, but we don't even really know what the first fixture is going to be yet, or where. At what stage do you start kind of focusing your laser planning?
Yep. So we obviously have provisional plans in place for the preparation going into the tournament from the end of the previous domestic season into the tournament. We have some provisional fixtures in place that in the near future we can then start to firm those things up in place. We'll get the dates, so excuse me, the precise fixture lists and more understanding around the locations at the start of February. And then immediately post this forthcoming Six Nations, I'll be heading out to Australia with the head of logistics, Charlotte Gibbons, and head of performance, Phil Morrow. And we'll be going around and looking and getting the detail of our plans in place.
Thank you.
Adam?
Hi, both. Yeah, one for both of you to start with. You both had near misses in the last two tournaments in various different guises. I mean, what does it take to make the extra step?
If I go first, Maz, and then I think what you highlight there is the level of experience already within the England squad, being in World Cup, knockout games. We know those margins in those games are very tight, and you can see that. You saw in those knockout games, so many of them are decided by less than 3 points. So we know you get to those final stages, every team's a top quality team, and then that's when your experience counts, the togetherness of your team counts, how good you are tactically. So over the next 2 years, we're going to be working very, very hard, and continue to work very, very hard in that direction. I've been really pleased with the progress of the team so far in that regard, and I expect the intensity of our training to go up even further from where it is now, and we'll continue to develop the scenario aspect of our training to replicate those game situations that finals of World Cups demand.
James
Yeah.
White got his hand up. Sorry, Adam. Go on. Follow up, please.
Maro.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add to what Steve has said is, you know, it ultimately comes down to big moments and how, you know, accurate and clinical we can be in those big moments. And I think the progression of this team is that you can see us taking advantage of those big moments more and more. And we want to build on that and make sure by the time we get to 2027, you know, when those big moments come, we're ready to take them.
Does the new nature of the Six Nations slightly concertina, this is sorry for Steve, and the Nations Championship replicate a World Cup better than previous other tournaments you would have been in?
I think that it's a slightly different nature of it. I think that the key aspect of it is the players and the whole management team within the program having a clear aspect that we're about getting a performance on the grass in the games, whatever situation is thrown at you. And I think that over this last period of time, I've seen an England team grow that's adaptable, an England team that handles difficult scenarios with a whole lot of composure and a whole lot of belief. And that's what we aim to continue. We're going to do a couple of things differently throughout in the Six Nations, and we're looking at different aspects throughout the Nations Championship of where we can replicate specific scenarios to ensure that coming into the World Cup, the team is fully prepared.
Thanks both.
Thanks, Adam. James White, you got your hand up.
Hi, Steve. I can't get my camera on. I do apologise for that. But just picking up what you were saying there about that adaptability piece. This is your second Rugby World Cup as a head coach. What have you learned from the previous two that you might take, you know, the one with Japan and with England, that you might do things differently in this World Cup? What would be the 2 or 3 key things that you've learned about that World Cup campaign that will really inform the 27 World Cup campaign?
Yeah, thanks for your question. I've been really privileged, fortunate from a playing point of view. As at the 2007 World Cup, had its ups and downs. Brian led a team to the Rugby World Cup final. Then in 2015 with Japan, where we lost one game in the group and almost qualified to the quarters, and then 19 went to the final, and obviously 23 lost narrowly in the semi-final, won the bronze medal. I think each of those experiences shows that the margins of games are incredibly small. That as Maro just talked about, each moment is potentially the huge moment that matters as a defining aspect of the game. At that point in time, you don't know that. At that point in time, you don't know it's the key moment. So that demands a certain concentration. It demands a certain resilience from the players, and it comes down to getting the detail right, which is where the coaching team needs to help prepare the players to be prepared for that level of detail that is demanded. Each and every team in the World Cup has more time to prepare for it, and that means that each one of those crucial aspects of the game has more preparation time within it. So we expect it to come down to just a few moments.
And we often, as coaches, you often talk about coaching in coaching blocks, like blocks of time. When do you kind of envisage the final lap when you've got everything in place? When does that final sort of sprint to the World Cup line take place?
Well, I think the periodisation through the Rugby World Cup prep is really key. Now we know, and as I said to you prior to the 23 World Cup, the World Cup's not won in August. And so what you're going to do is ensure you get the periodization of that right, so the team enters the tournament um, in the right physical shape and continues to push throughout the tournament, so that it continues to grow and develop. And that's what I sense from the players every time they come into camp. I sense a team that wants to improve, and I don't think it's going to change from that regard.
And very lastly, there is a chance you could get Japan in the knockout stages. Are you looking forward to some WhatsApp banter with Eddie?
So as I dare say, your phone's been the same, with all kinds of permutations being sent through to us. I think that in terms of what's brilliant about all those permutations is that everyone's excited, everyone's thinking about it and trying to plan it out and map out. I've already seen people have sent through to me those maps where you plan out who kind of thing you had on your wall when you were a kid, and what I do know is that, and you mentioned Japan, I do know from 2015 is that I don't think too many people expected the cat to get thrown amongst the pigeons the way it did in the first game of that first round of that World Cup. So I think thinking too far ahead probably leads you astray. So we'll just concentrate on developing, building, and making sure we get the game in front of us right.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, James. So we're going to go Luke from The Guardian, then it was Will, and then it was Dan.
Thank you, Tim. First question for Steve, please. Any head coach would say you have to beat the best teams to win the tournament, but for all that, are you happy to see the likes of South Africa, New Zealand, France on the other side of the draw?
Again, I refer, thanks for the question, I refer to my earlier answer, is you can start thinking about all kinds of different aspects and you miss what's immediately in front of you. Now, we know that World Cup games are hugely competitive. The margins in World Cups have really tightened up. And what we see in this tournament is a new dimension with the round of 16. So we're seeing and some new teams involved in the tournament. So from my point of view, we'll concentrate on making sure we're the best prepared team we possibly can be going into the tournament. And we will continue to build and improve throughout it.
Thank you very much. And question for Maro, please. If you continue to improve at the rate you have been and squad depth continues to improve, etc., will you go there confident of winning the tournament?
I think our ambition is to do very well and win this tournament. That's definitely our goal. That's our aim. That's our objective. But to do that, we know we have to make sure we get our preparation right. And the next 2 years leading to the World Cup is massive. As I guess Rome wasn't built in a day, so we need to build throughout time and make sure that we're tracking in the right direction.
Thank you.
So Will.
One for Maro to start with. Now that we've got a draw, and as Steve was saying, everyone's sort of plotting routes and things like that, and based on the run that you guys have been on, the form you're showing, there's going to be now 2 years of expectation, as always, before World Cup, isn't it? Are you relishing that, the long build up and everyone getting quite excited about how England could go and looking at the draw and saying it looks favourable and all that sort of stuff? Do you relish that pressure of expectation that will start building now?
Well, I relish the expectation because the converse would not be ideal if if this England team had no expectation, or you played for a team that had no hopes. That's something, that's a situation which I don't want to be in. So and it's all part of the parcel. If we want to go out and do what we want to do, we have to walk that line and welcome whatever comes, and if that's part of it, we have to welcome that.
I know there's 20 odd tests before we do all this, but from your perspective as a captain, what sort of, I don't know, characteristics or bits and pieces would you like to add among the team over the next period of time before you get to Australia? How do you want to be hardened for that?
Well, I just think the experiences that we're gonna have from now to the World Cup will put us in good stead. We're not playing not playing bad teams. All the teams we're playing leading up to the World Cup are high quality teams, and teams that pretty much all of them will have the same level of ambition as us. So I just think the more experience we have, the more battle hardened we are, the more opportunities we have to play the best teams in the world. I think all of those things will put us in good stead.
Thank you. And one for Steve. There's been a lot of talk since we last saw you about two possible recruits, let's say, Bernard Janssen van Rensburg and Hoskins Satutu. Have you been in contact with either of them? What's the situation with Van Rensburg? Will he now qualify for England soon? Can you update us on either of those, please?
Yep. So he qualifies next September, is my current understanding of that, and becomes available to play for England at that stage. And regarding Hoskins Tutu, I've had no contact.
And just on Van Rensburg, seems like there was a lot of desire for him to be involved. So why do you rate him so highly? Obviously, he's been playing well for Irish and for Bristol, but where do you see him fitting in if he keeps playing well?
Yeah, well, as I say, he's not qualified until next September. So right now, I concentrate on the players that are available, and clearly there's lots of good players in the Premiership, and he's certainly a good player. My focus is upon the players that are available to play for England.
But the RFU had to appeal the case, didn't they, to make it come through? So there would have had to have been some sort of RFU involvement there. Otherwise, he wouldn't have
World
qualified.
Rugby has the decision to make around it, and that's the decision that's made, that he's available next September. And as I referred to my earlier answers, if I'm thinking about next September, I'm probably missing what's immediately in front. So my focus is on what's in front of us. And right now, today, we're talking about World Cup, and which is an exciting path we're on.
Dan.
Hi, Steve. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yes.
Yeah, sorry, slightly dodgy Wi-Fi in these parts. Can I ask you to elaborate on what you were saying about the training, how you're going to try and replicate those moments, those really high pressure moments in training?
Yeah.
You obviously can't import 50,000 people into Penny Hill Park. What is it specifically you'll be doing to try and win those fine margins?
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly this is a process we've accelerated over the last 12 months as part of the development of the team. We've got 20 test matches between now and the start of the World Cup. What we want to do is, whilst we want to maximise we want to win each and every one of those test matches and learn and develop in each one of those test matches. And from it, we don't just want to be reliant upon only those test matches. So each aspect of training will have scenario elements within it, and off the pitch will have scenario elements within it, which puts the players into situations where they've got to make decisions under certain aspects of duress, physical duress, different types of pressure. You're right, there won't be 50,000 people, we know that, but I think it's still the right thing to do to start to continue, enhance, accelerate the development of the team.
And just one more, if I may. I know you said you're going to go out on the recce with Phil Morrow and Charlotte Gibbons. Do you have in your head what you would like as a sort of lead-in program going into the World Cup? I think in 2003 under Sir Clive, they played the best of the best.
Yep, and so we have a provisional plan in place around the preparation camps and the pre-Rugby World Cup internationals. Now that we have the draw, we're in a position to start firming up those internationals. And then once we have clarity over season structure and exact time window going into those camps, then we'll be able to plan the exact detail of our Rugby World Cup camps.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dan. So we'll go Martin Lipton, then James Regan, and I think we'll draw things to a close. Martin.
Hi, Maro, if I can start with you. Thanks for the time. You obviously were in Australia in the summer and had that fervent support of the Lions fans. And because of memories of 2003, I'm sure there'll be hundreds, maybe thousands of England fans looking to come to Australia. What sort of role can they play when they travel? How is there a chance to inspire? You talk about obviously Twickenham effect, and we saw that the other week. But when you go abroad, particularly for a tournament, what sort of impact can those supporters have on the ambience in the squad as well?
No, they can have a massive impact on our performance, massive impact on our morale. And, when we're going through tough periods in a game, they can see us through. And I would say, I think the English are world renowned for how they travel. So whether that's in football, whether that's in the Ashes, and we've seen it in rugby as well. We witnessed that in 2023 and even in 2019. So it probably goes without saying that the support that the traveling fans will have will be huge for us, and it'll be, I know, speaking on behalf of the players, is something that we really look forward to and welcome.
And Steve, if I can ask you, last time the World Cup, you were given the job very, very immediately before it. Really, you had to work with the tools you were provided with. You've been building for 2 years now, with 2 years to go. Is there a feeling within you and your camp that what we will see, hopefully in 27, is the end game of what you're looking to produce with this England team? That you'll be at the sort of the pinnacle of what you've wanted to produce over that period of time, with all the work you've done off the field, on the field, together as a unit?
We've been very clear in saying that our aim is to win the World Cup in 27. As a number of other nations will be saying the same. We are working towards it. I think the team is progressing. It's transitioned a lot since the last World Cup over the last 18 months. And we have 2 years to continue to work exceptionally hard to be in the position to achieve that goal. I want to make sure, Maro just talked about our supporters. I want to make sure that our supporters in Australia in 2 years' time have loads to cheer about. And I want to make sure also that along the way, they also have we make a load of incredible memories with them and give them plenty to celebrate along the journey. I think it's an exciting young England team that we have. I think they're on a path of development. We want to accelerate that path of development, which is going to come back to how hard the players work in their preparation, be it their preparation outside of camp and then their preparation in camp. And we'll make sure we're putting in that hard work.
Thanks, Martin. Okay, James, last one from you, and we will draw it to a close.
Cheers, thank you. Question for Maro. Steve touched on it. Obviously, the introduction of the round of 16, which means more games with jeopardy, more knockout games. Obviously, do you like the concept in terms of attracting fans as well? But for you as a player, I'm guessing you love those kind of winner-takes-all moments.
No, I absolutely welcome it and love it. I think it brings an extra dimension to the competition. And yeah, I think it's just going to make it really exciting.
Can I ask Steve, does that impact or do you think it will impact your thinking in terms of your lead up to the tournament, with obviously that game to come into it there?
Well, I think that over the number of Rugby World Cup games have been involved in is that they are different. That's the nature of it, and I think that this round of 16 adds another exciting chapter to this Rugby World Cup. I think we're going to see a load of teams, as we mentioned about Japan in 2015, the performance of Fiji at the last World Cup. It was such an exceptional team that developed so fast. I think we're going to see some formidable games in that round of 16, which is brilliant, isn't it? And that's exactly what World Cup should be about.
All right, Will, you put your hand up.
Yes.
Sorry. Go on, Will. Quick one. We've got time for one more. Go.
Yeah, quick last one for Maro. You mentioned a bit earlier about all the fixtures you've got coming up and the big beasts you've got to play. I think at the moment, before the 27 World Cup, you'll only play the box once, depending on what happens in the Nations Champ finals and all that. Would you quite like to add another one to have a go at who are at the moment the best team in the world? I know you don't dictate who you play and who the fixtures are, but would you kind of love that challenge to go to play them more than once before the next World Cup?
I would love to play them as much as possible, to be honest. Them, New Zealand, France, Ireland, Australia, who am I missing out? I hope I'm not missing out anyone. But all the big boys in Test rugby, you know, we want to play them. We want to test ourselves against them, because only when you do that, you know where you're really at. So I would love to play them as much as possible.
I guess people might say some teams might look at them and go, it'd be quite fortunate to just avoid them for as long as possible and almost shock them, to try and shock them at 27, but you wouldn't think like that. You just want to take them on whenever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Stay on the line, Chris Jones. Thanks all.